Okay, so you open an account. Accounts can stay open for a long time. What if you decide to change the rules? Okay, well, there are specific change in terms requirements that could be triggered depending on what you decide to do with that deposit account. Okay, so first off, the notice is required anytime you're going to change something to based on one of those terms that is required to be disclosed. So everything that we went through on the account opening disclosures, if you're going to change anything in that category of information, and if the change will either reduce the APY that was available, or if it's going to adversely impact the customer in any way. So if you're going to raise a fee or something along those lines, those are, the fees are required to be disclosed. If you're going to raise that fee, that's an adverse impact on the customer. So then you have to provide that change in terms notice. Okay. So anytime there's a change to a disclosure that was required at the front end, if that is going to reduce the APY, or if it's going to adversely impact the customer, that's what's going to trigger this change in terms notice. Now, what do you have to tell them, or what has to go into your change in terms notice? Well, first off, you have to give them the effective date. When is this change going to occur? And so you have to lock yourself into this is the date when everything's going to change. And then it has to be provided at least 30 calendar days before the effective date. Okay, so whatever the effective date is, you got to go back 30 calendar days. That's when they have to be mailed or delivered as of that time frame. Now, here's a couple of moving parts here where these things can get a little sticky. The rule does allow you to put your change in terms into a statement. Okay, so if you have periodic statements and you want to change the terms and it meets one of the requirements we talked about before, you can print that change in terms on a statement. However, keep in mind, for a lot of us, our periodic statements, they don't all go out on the same date. A lot of times you have rolling statements where some of your statements will go out earlier in the month, and then some of them will come out a little bit later, and then some of them go out a little bit after that. So watch out for this kind of lag when your statements are actually cut and sent out in the mail. Okay. So if you're calculating your 30 calendar days, you want to make sure that you're not missing the boat and you're not getting your dates wrong. So if you're sending out statements after that 30 calendar day mark, that would be a violation. Okay. So who is the last person that has their statement sent out? That's where you calculate your 30 calendar days from. Now, format. Keep in mind, you can, whatever the change is, you can get pretty creative. You can put it into a statement, but there are a few things, okay? If you decide, okay, we're changing the terms of your agreement here, we're just going to send you out the new account disclosures, okay? While you can do that, you can send them out whole new set of account disclosures, but if that's what you're going to do, you need to make sure that you are highlighting what the changes are, okay? Because they do, presumably they have kept the copy of the original account disclosures that they gave you. I understand nobody actually keeps the copy of their account disclosures, but to the extent they did, they are not expected to be able to just look at the new disclosures and be able to pick out whatever it was you changed in that information. No, you have to highlight it, whether it's with an actual like highlighting in a different color or something along those lines. You have to call attention to what exactly are you changing from their previous disclosures. Okay.